What's up, everybody? NFL Week 16 action is upon us, and we have a full slate of games to run through. We'll get to all of our picks in just a minute, but we do have a handful of games that we specifically want to zero in on, and we will get to those first. Again, if you want to bet on the Week 16 action, go to crossingbroad.com/DK. Download DraftKings Sportsbook. They will give you a $500 risk-free first bet. Now let's jump into the action. First game, the biggest game, the likely NFC East title game. Eagles, Cowboys. Philadelphia comes in as a 3-point underdog, total set at 46.5 points. Some things to know. Road favorites in division games that open as a favorite of less than 3 points. Dallas opened as a 2.5-point favorite. They're only 10, 20, and 2 ATS in December or later, and they're only 3 and 7 against the spread when they close as a 3-point favorite, which is obviously what the line currently is. That's good news for the Eagles. Also know that the Cowboys are 4-11-1 ATS as a road favorite of 3 points or less under Jason Garrett following a win, including 3-6-1 ATS on the road. Love the under in this game more than anything, but I also like the Eagles to cover the spread as the underdog and likely win the game outright. Up next, we have the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. Bills still alive in the AFC East. They have to knock off New England on the road this week and then hope for a miracle as the Patriots have the hapless Dolphins in Week 17. Buffalo a 6.5-point underdog, total set at a very low 37.5. And you'll find out why in a second. The under is 18-7 in Josh Allen's career starts, including 11-1. That's right, 11-1 on the road. Allen 7-2-1 ATS as a road underdog, and he's 4-1 ATS as a dog of 6+ points. You can probably guess where I'm going here. I like the Bills to cover the spread against the Patriots on Saturday. Up next, we have a battle of two NFC East teams that have had absolutely miserable years. You have the New York Giants fresh off their win against the Dolphins last week, and the Redskins who let one slip away against the Eagles at FedEx Field last Sunday. Washington currently a 2-point favorite, total set at 42.5. Know that home favorites of 2.5 points or less with a record under 300 that are coming off a loss are only 9-15 ATS in division games. Home favorites of 3 points or less that didn't cover in their previous game playing a team that did, as the Redskins are playing the Giants coming off a cover, are only 22-32-3 ATS in division games. They're 13-18 ATS when a favorite of 2.5 points or less. Takes a lot to back the Giants, especially on the road, but there seems to be a lot of public confidence on Washington this week. I'm going to go against that. I'm locking in the Giants. Give me the G-Men. Up next, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, who are still looking for a first-round bye in the hotly contested AFC playoffs, playing the Chicago Bears. Their season's over after they lost to the Packers on the road last week. Kansas City laying 6 points going into Soldier Field, total set at 44.5. Chiefs are 22-9-1 ATS under Andy Reid on the road following a win. They're 13-4 ATS as a road favorite following a win. I like the Chiefs. They're ultra motivated. They know how important that first round bye is to their playoff success in January. Give me Kansas City. Up next, Green Bay, Minnesota Packers, a 5.5-point underdog, a 5.5-point underdog for the number 2 seed Green Bay Packers. That's Aaron Rodgers, by the way, as a 5.5-point underdog to Kirk Cousins. You got to be kidding me. The over-under, 45.5. What do we want to know about this game? Well, Vikings are 13-8-1 ATS as a home favorite of at least 4 points. Pretty good. Mike Zimmer has been outstanding at covering spreads with the Vikings since he arrived. Home favorites of 4 to 5.5 points in division games that lost the previous head-to-head meeting are 23-16 ATS in November or later. They're 16-10 ATS when the spread is 4 to 5 points. Keep an eye on the line here. I got to be honest with you. Nobody wants to take Kirk Cousins laying almost a touchdown to Aaron Rodgers. I think the line is telling us a lot here. I'm taking the Vikings. I'm going to hold my breath as I do it, but give me Minnesota to get it done and cover the spread. All right, now let's take a look at the rest of the NFL Week 16 slate. Starts on Saturday afternoon. You have the Houston Texans fresh off that monster win over the Titans going down south to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, winners of 4 straight games. 3.5-point underdog are the Buccaneers. That feels like a lot of points, something to consider. Tampa Bay actually opened as a 3-point underdog in this game. Teams that have won 4 straight games that are home underdogs of exactly 3 points, 11-6-2 ATS dating back to the 2003 season. I'll take that with the hook. Give me Tampa Bay. Saturday night, you have the San Francisco 49ers coming off an extremely impressive win 2 weeks ago over the Saints on the road. And then they lay an egg at home against the Atlanta Falcons in an unthinkable loss. How does that happen? Now they get the LA Rams, who were rolling, looked like they were going to make a late season playoff push, and they the bed against the Dallas Cowboys in front of a national audience. I think the Rams are donezo. Give me the 49ers to rebound, keep their number one seed hopes alive. Now, good game here. I think maybe hardest game of the week to handicap. You have the New Orleans Saints, the Tennessee Titans, both teams ultra motivated. Saints jockeying for playoff position, looking for that first round bye. They're currently on the outside looking in. They got to go to Tennessee, who's fighting for their playoff lives, basically a 50-50 proposition whether or not Tennessee makes the postseason. I think that the Saints are going to show up, use that experience, and get a big-time road win over the Titans. And then you have the Steelers, and you have the New York Jets. I don't like this Steelers team. I think that they're a fraud. I respect the fact that they were able to rally after such a terrible start, but if you've been watching these videos the last couple weeks, you know I'm not a big Steelers guy. They came back to earth Sunday night against the Buffalo Bills. I know the New York Jets are a dumpster fire, but 3.5 is a lot of points, especially with such a low total. I expect a low-scoring, close football game, and with that hook, I got to take the Jets, even though I don't want to do it. Now, moving on, you have the Carolina Panthers. Remember Kyle Allen on the road in the snow at Lambeau Field looked so impressive just a little over a month ago. What the hell happened? He's been a disaster. He's benched this week in favor of Will Grier, making his first start on the road. Colts have lost 4 straight games, 6.5-point favorite for a team that lost 4 straight. I think this defense gets it done. Give me the Colts to spoil Grier's debut. Now, you have the Jags, who rallied late last week over the Oakland Raiders. What a job by the Raiders to send home the Oakland fans in the final game in front of that crowd. Totally collapsed. Gardner Minshew, weird dude, weird quarterback, was terrible for most of that game, got hot late. Does it translate this week against the Atlanta Falcons coming off that huge win over the 49ers? I don't think so. I think the Falcons underachieved this season. They're finally figuring it out. This is a team that wants to build some positive momentum heading into the offseason. They're not as far away as people think, and I think that Atlanta rolls at home over the Jags. The worst game of the week by far. Some NFL draft implications on the line in Miami when the Bengals and Dolphins hook up this week. If you bet this game, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you, but it's on the board. We got to pick it. I think that the Bengals are actually going to go on the road and get this done. Miami actually opened as a short favorite. We're now at a pick 'em at midweek. If I have to pick this game, I'm taking the Bengals. I think Andy Dalton does just enough. That offensive line still struggling, but just I got to be honest with you. I think that they've played a little bit better in recent weeks, and they do enough to knock off a horrendous Dolphins team, and that was on full display against the Giants last week. Now you have the Ravens. You have the Browns. The Browns have very, very faint playoff hopes. They're going to be absolutely dashed after this football game on Sunday. The Ravens have 2 losses this season, haven't lost a game since September, 10 straight wins. One of them was to this crappy Browns team. They roll. In a revenge game, I think that they blow the doors off of Cleveland this week. Finally, 3 games left to go. The Lions. Give me a break. You got Drew Lock at home, coming off a tough start against Kansas City after looking so good in his first 2 NFL starts. I think that he rebounds against this absolutely lifeless, listless Lions team. Give me the Broncos, laying the 6.5 at home. The Raiders, Chargers. Are there any 2 teams in the NFL that you should trust less than these 2? I have to take the home team simply because I watched the Raiders implode at home last week in the 4th quarter. This looks like a team that's checked out. Give me the Chargers. And then finally, you have the Cardinals and you have the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seahawks get it done, keep the inside track on a first-round bye, but 9.5 points is a lot. I don't trust them to cover this spread with that defense and mediocre at best special teams. I'll take the 9.5 with the Arizona Cardinals. Again, if you want to get in on the NFL Week 16 action, head over to crossingbroad.com/DK. Download DraftKings Sportsbook. They will give you a $500 risk-free first bet. And if you like what you see here, please like our video, subscribe, and drop a comment below with your pick of the week.